Hello YouTube, Matthew Williams here. I want to ask a question. It's a subject that doesn't get asked a lot, and it's not something that people generally talk about. Overlooked or perhaps ignored. It's not really something they teach you at school, and to be honest, it's not really something your parents teach you either, even though it's something that we all have to do, and we all do it every day, sometimes multiple times a day. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about wiping your arse. Okay? Wiping your arse is an important part of everybody's life. Okay? Some people in some countries do it with their hands. They don't use toilet paper. They consider that like weird. So they wipe the shit onto their hands and then they wash their hands. So I find that a bit weird. I'd rather use tissue paper. It's a lot cleaner, a lot quicker, a lot less aggro. I mean, you've got some countries like Germany where they've got these toilets where the bowl is actually flat and there's no water in it. And then basically when you flush it, you flush the turd, which is sitting on the top of the bowl, you flush it off into the hole. So when you first do a dump, you get this horrible wafting smell of shit, so that's the Germans. And you got the Italians and a lot of the world, they just have a hole in the ground, like a little fucking hole, and you have to position yourself really carefully across the top of the hole, and you shit down into the hole. That's like getting rid of your shit so you don't see it, not like the Germans who want to inspect their shit, and then you get the Japanese who want to analyze their shit with a computer. But anyway, there's all those sorts of weirdness to do with the toilet. So, but, nobody ever talks about how you wipe your ass. How do you do it? Do you use your hands, as we know some people do? Maybe you're a bidet user, so you blast it with water. And maybe you use tissue paper. Now, I'm just going to go on about what I know, because I don't know what other people get up to, and obviously other people are quite fucking weird. But what I want to know is, what are the general trends in how people wipe their arse in the United Kingdom? How do they do it? And it's not a fetish of mine, by the way. I'm not interested in the shit. I'm just interested in people's attitude towards it. Okay, that's what I find kind of curious. So, basically, what I'd like to know is if you've got your arse, sort of like this, and that's like sort of pretty representational. I can also probably do it with my elbows pretty good, isn't it? Say this is a good representation of my arse there. Would you, right, if you've got the top, let's do it with this one then, right, if you've got the top of the arse going up to the back, and imagine that your front and your genitals are through there, so that's your genitals on the other side, right? This is your back, okay? So do you wipe from the back to the front or the front to the back? Are you a back wiper or are you a front wiper? Right, now the reason I ask is because I think it's quite obvious to women, maybe not quite so obvious to men, but I mean, if you're a back wiper, i.e. you wipe from the back to the front, then the chances are you're going to wipe shit into your fanny, okay? Which is probably something you don't really want to do from a female hygiene point of view. So I would probably imagine that most women, and there may be some of you out there going, God, I never thought about that. Maybe I have got loads of shit up my fanny. And maybe this video will help you to understand that, possibly you do have some shit up your fanny. But I wonder whether or not, basically, oh God, they're trying to ring me now. It's typical, isn't it? I'll have to turn the phone off because it'll just keep ringing back, as people do. And it's annoying because I don't want to have to start this video again. Like I always start all the others. Anyway, they've gone. Goodbye. Phone turn off. Takes about 10 minutes to turn off. But there we are. Right, okay, so where were we? Shit in your fanny. Have you got any? Do you have any funny stories about maybe going to clean your fanny and finding a turd up there? You could always post these things in the comments. But it's a pretty bizarre subject, isn't it, really? I mean, but what you really want to do is you want to be wiping from the front to the back, isn't it? Yeah. Now, that way, you're wiping away from your genitals, you're wiping away from everything else, and then when you actually have finished, you can then clean the back half of you quite easily. What I want to know is, do people, when they sort of, this is my fascination, right? When people have finished, I mean, do you look at the paper after you've finished? you know. Now, a lot of people, when I ask them this question, you know, and I do ask this question to people when I get to know them, you know, for about 10 minutes, you know, I will ask people this type of question. Do you look at the paper after you've actually wiped your arse? And you know what? Instinctively, I think it's an instinctive thing. Most people say no, they don't. But I think it's a knee-jerk reaction because, in fact, probably most people do. Okay? If you don't, I would say you're quite weird, right? It's not weird because you look at the paper and, ooh, look, he looks at his poo paper. The point is, right, if you don't look at the paper, how do you know whether or not your arse is now clean? Because if it isn't clean, you go and get another piece of paper and you do it, then you look at it and you drop it in the toilet, put another piece of paper, wipe it, look at it, drop it in the toilet. You keep doing that until you're clean, okay? But a lot of people, knee-jerk reaction, you can try this one out, it's really interesting. If you ask people, do they look at their toilet paper? No, I don't look at my toilet paper. And you go, well, hang on a minute, how do you know your arse is clean? Maybe you're walking around with an arse caked full of shit. And I think some people probably do. Anyway, other questions that come to mind is, how far do you go in cleaning your arse? Because simply wiping it with a toilet tissue is obviously going to wipe a certain amount of it into the walls of the arse, and then you're going to really need to clean that off. So I personally use moist toilet tissues, and if I haven't got access to moist toilet tissues, I'll often, you know, get a piece of tissue paper, wet it, and then do that. And you're surprising how much more you can get off by cleaning it, which is like, it's an alternative to using a bidet, which is a big fucking hassle and a load of drying. Plus a lot of tissue paper are going to be wasted, unless you want to use towels, in which case you're going to be washing shitty towels all the time. Not my cup of tea, you know. But anyway, back to the point. You got your arsehole like that, right? Okay? And then you wipe across it, yeah? Now, in there is still a little bit of shit. So, what do? Do you get the tissue paper, right? I'm asking the question, right, okay? I'll give you what I do in a second, yeah? So do you do sort of this, and you wipe it, and then you put your finger in your arsehole like that and push the paper in, right? Not much, just a little bit, yeah? And then pull that out and do that a few times until you know there's nothing there, right? Or are you one of these people that basically squats so that the inside of your arse comes outside, you squeeze so that you've got that opened up, and then you wipe, okay? Personally, I find a combination of the two works quite well. You go a little bit in, you squeeze. You don't want to prolapse, you know, because obviously your arsehole's sort of coming out to meet you, but you don't want to prolapse yourself. But basically, how do you clean your arse? It was never taught to you in school, probably. Did your parents teach you it? Did they say, like, make sure you get a finger up there, or make sure you wipe it loads of times, then use a moist towel? Or, you know, I mean, parents, do they teach their children how to use a bidet? I mean, Christ, every house I've ever gone to where they've had a bidet, and you say, like, bidet, and they go, yeah. And it's like, do you use it? No. And it's like, do you know how to use it? No. Why do you have it? Well, because, you know, you're meant to have a bidet in the house for people who want to use them. And how many people do you meet who use a bidet? Anyone? Anyone use a bidet? Anyone know how to use a bidet? What's the procedure? What is the technique for using a bidet? Yeah? Are you supposed to get that water spout right up your arse? Are you supposed to, like, open your butt cheeks to get the water going up there? You know, is it for women? You know, is it mainly designed for women? Is it meant to shoot a jet of water up your fanny, which you can then squeeze back out and then you're all clean? What's that for? What the fuck is a bidet for, and how do you use it? Yeah? So, interesting questions, slightly disgusting topic, but don't forget, don't squeeze too hard, otherwise you might get a prolapse. That's all I'm going to say, or cause yourself hemorrhoids. My understanding is that when you take a dump, gentle pressure, but not a lot, otherwise you could possibly cause your blood vessels in your arse to become hemorrhoidal, which you don't want. So, hope you've enjoyed this video. I can't wait to hear in the comments exactly how it is, whether you're a side wiper, a front wiper. I hope you're not a back wiper, and whether you get your fingers in there, which maybe it makes you gay, maybe it doesn't, but hey, what you get up to in the toilet is not my business. But how clean do you like to be, around your bumhole area. So thanks for sharing your stuff in the comments, and please subscribe to this channel if you think it's depraved enough. Goodbye.